Am I the a-hole for not letting my fiancé's friend come to the wedding? My fiancé and I were planning our wedding, and he passed over his guest list, and a name stuck out to me. It was my middle school and high school bully. He threw spitballs at me and put rotting food in my desk, so all the other kids would think it was me. He also had a shellfish allergy, and could be around shellfish but not eat it. So he knew I heated up shellfish in the microwave, and would stand in front of me not letting me get to the microwave telling me I was making him sick, and then get all his friends to harass me. Even when I wasn't bringing shellfish, he would tell me I had a fishy smell to me, and even once called it a dirty Chinese smell. He also made a slanted eyes racist joke in front of me regularly. I told my fiancé this and made it clear there's no way I'm letting this guy come, and he defended him basically saying everyone was an a-hole in high school and we were adults now, so I should forgive and forget. His friend was apparently a family friend's son, so if he wasn't coming, neither were they. He then, without telling me, brought his guy to meet me one day, and he apologized, claiming he didn't remember anything, but apologized for anything he did to me. I told him to buzz off and to get off my lawn. My fiancé is furious with me for being rude to his friend, and we had a screaming fight about it where he said he wasn't taking his friend off the list, and I told him he can get married to him instead. Now for the top comments. Info: why are you getting married to this guy? I'm having a hard time remembering. Why instead of not allowing the friend to attend a wedding, you don't attend yourself? Maybe your fiancé can get married to your friend. The I don't remember part got me. Invite him, then serve shellfish. Yeah, then Obi can not remember he has a shellfish allergy. Why is this guy so important to your fiancé? Please ask your fiancé this. He is the son of a family friend who babysat him sometimes as a child. That's the reason. He really wants his old babysitter and family friend to be there, and she will only come if they invite her whole family. I don't want her there either, because the principal talked to her often about her son's activities and she never did anything about it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife it would be controlling and inappropriate for her to try and change how my family does Christmas? My wife and I rotate who we spend Christmas with, so one year her family and one year mine. I don't love doing it with her family, and she isn't a big fan of my mother. Please don't tell us to do it as a nuclear family. We both hate that idea. Our families are pretty different. Her family's much more about the kids. Even the dinner is tailored more to what kids like. Bland in my opinion, but I would never say that. The kids each get 1,000 gifts and spend Christmas running around my mother-in-law's house, making a huge ruckus. Christmas with my family is amazing food, though we usually have to pack our toddler her own meal. A more relaxed atmosphere, and my mom doesn't get any of her grandkids gifts. I don't know her exact reasoning. She says that only the nuclear families should buy gifts, though she does get me and my two sisters something, but gives it to us about a week in advance. My kids don't know that she does that. My mom encourages the kids to play in another room so the adults can talk, but me and my wife put our foot down because these kids are just too young. To be clear, we exchanged gifts at home before going, but my wife just finds it really weird that no one in the family buys for other people's kids. It has nothing to do with my mom being frugal or anti-materialism. My mom and stepdad go all out for each other. Anyway, it is our year to do Christmas with my side, and my wife came to me and proposed suggesting to the family that we only buy for kids and make Christmas more kid-friendly. I told her she really has no right to tell my mom how to spend her money, and that would not go over well with my very child-free sister. Other sister has kids as well. She said she feels that Christmas is supposed to be this magical time for the kids, and my mom and stepdad and child-free sister and brother-in-law have their anniversaries, birthdays, and Valentines to spoil each other. She said she just really hates how much Christmas is about the adults in my family, and it makes her sad. I said her points are totally valid, but it would be controlling and inappropriate to try and change how my family's always done things, and she would definitely offend my mom. She said I'm putting my mom's feelings ahead of hers and she just wants to bring it up, and she doesn't like that I used the word controlling. I am definitely a bigger fan of your wife's idea of how Christmas should be spent than your family's, but house traditions are house traditions. It just sounds boring as hell for those kids, and they'll always be comparing the fun side of the family to the boring old side, but they aren't being mistreated or anything. Not an a-hole for doing things different, though I'm not inclined to call your wife an a-hole for making the suggestion. If she made it a demand, then she'd be an a-hole. Agree, it's a no a-hole situation. The wife is a member of the family now and has the right to offer ideas and suggestions. Opie, as an original member of that family, can and should communicate with his wife about whether her suggestions are a good fit for his side. Nobody did anything wrong here. Soft, everyone sucks here, except your wife. Not centering Christmas 100% around the children is one thing, but your family sounds like it doesn't include the children at all. Send them to another room? No presents? And they don't even get a single special holiday meal. How hard is it to make a mac and cheese dish? Put an orange, some chocolate, and a book in a stocking, and set up a game, arts, and craft activity or a movie for the kids? Honestly, if I was your wife, I wouldn't bother going to your family's Christmas. Your wife and child are a part of your family too, and if they aren't included in the celebration, then Christmas and family don't sound like they go together in your family. Your family does things a certain way. Your wife doesn't like it and suggested a change, which is reasonable. She's part of the family too. You aren't an a-hole for telling her it won't go over well, and your family doesn't have to change, but making her feel bad about a reasonable request is an a-hole move. I think now you have children, there is nothing wrong with suggesting some minor changes to Christmas. Traditions change as families change. I think there will come a point where one of the children tells grandma how boring her Christmas is, and that will not be fun. Everyone sucks here. She has been told that she is boring. I was pretty mortified, but she didn't seem to care. We had a talk with my daughter about how it is okay to think those things, but sometimes saying something hurts people's feelings. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for going to my parents' house and leaving my fiancé at home after she said she wanted to bring her own food to Thanksgiving? Me and my fiancé, both 20s, have been together for 3 years and had a long-distance relationship. This is supposedly her first Thanksgiving with my family. My mom invited us to attend Thanksgiving dinner, and when I told my fiancé about the invitation, she asked about what was prepared for dinner. And I said the traditional dishes every home prepares, and she made a face and said she'll accept the invitation and go, but will bring her own cooked food with her. I was shocked. I asked why, because as far as I know, she's not allergic nor vegan, and she hasn't even tried my mom's cooking. She said that it's just her choice, and wanted to eat something else to add new flavor for Thanksgiving, since she was always forced to eat the same old traditional meals every year by her family. I was mad. I told her it'd be disrespectful of her as a first-time guest at our family's Thanksgiving, but she said it was better than telling my mom to cook other dishes specifically for her. I told her no, she cannot bring food with her, and if she insists, then she needs to stay home and not come with me, because I'm not about to let her fed my mom's cooking. She got all dramatic, almost crying, saying I was being controlling and that I should just let her come and bring her own food, instead of overreacting like that. I stood my ground and she kept saying she wanted to bring food, and that she wasn't willing to go hungry to please my mom. I had it at this point, and got ready to go over to my parents who live hours away. I got in the car with my stuff and left her behind crying, then started calling me saying I should not have went and left her alone at home, and that I was wrong for making this my hill to die on, and causing her to miss my mom's invite. I'm at my parents' house right now. I made up some excuse as to why my fiancé didn't come, but I'm still bothered by what happened, especially when she keeps guilting me for leaving her behind, calling me selfish jerk, and whatnot. Edited to add, oh yeah, she was actually planning on bringing an entire cooked meal. So, I wasn't just talking about some side dishes to share with the family. That would have been a different story. It would have been perfectly acceptable, gracious even, for her to bring a side dish or two, so long as you cleared that with your mom ahead of time. But to pre-cook and bring her whole meal and not eat your mother's food at all is rude. There's something more going on here than she's sharing with you. I wish that she'd bring some side dishes or desserts. But no, she wanted to bring cooked food just for herself. This stuff is highly disrespectful to my family. Homegirl sounds really whiny, toxic, and manipulative. Might want to rethink who you spend the rest of your life with. Just saying. Not a-hole, but don't expect that you'll save this relationship. What the heck is your fiancé thinking? She has no dietary restrictions, but feels that she needs to impose her vision on a meal she's invited to? This feels like a power play. This feels like a test to force you to choose her over your family. Nope, right the heck out of that. You passed the test, by the way. She is the one who failed you. She's the selfish one. Like there is some serious Darvo stuff here. Not a-hole. This isn't her last meal on Earth, or the only food she'll be able to eat for the rest of her life. This is one meal that someone is generously making to share with loved ones. If you're not a huge fan, you eat a minimal amount and then have a big dessert. Stop at Burger King on the way home. Jam a PB&J in your coat's pocket to eat in the car. Next story. Am I the a-hole for sending my boyfriend's brother home? I, 28 female, work for my parents. Maybe you can see where this is going. We live in a little town in the middle of nowhere. My parents run a little mom-and-pop grocery shop that everyone loves. It is a family-owned store, and I am a manager here. We don't usually have issues. My boyfriend's Ryan, 27 male, little brother, 22 male, recently moved in with him due to disputes between him and his parents. Kane has always been rowdy, so I think his parents just got fed up with his behavior, but I really don't know. Ryan told him he could stay with him, but he'd need to get a job because there was no way he could provide for both of them on a salary. Well, none of the places hiring the area wanted Kane. At least he claims he applied and just never got calls back. So, Ryan asked me to swing a job for him here. I didn't like the idea, but we hired Kane on 4 months ago. In that time, I've caught Kane napping in the employee lounge on his break, but an hour longer than allotted. I caught him vaping in the cooler, and multiple times I found him standing around talking to friends about the work he was meant to be doing without actually doing it. The final straw was 4 days ago. Kane clocked in, found me, and asked me what he should do. I told him his job for the day. He said okay and disappeared. 30 minutes later, I saw him nowhere in his area. I went to the employee lounge and saw him sitting at the table eating and on his phone. I asked him what he was doing. He said eating. I asked him if he carted out for break. He rolled his eyes at me and said, "No, I was just grabbing a bite to eat quick." I asked him how long he was back here for, and he said, "I don't know, I just bought it and came back." I told him to let me see his receipt, and sure enough, it was stamped for about 5 minutes after he clocked in. I said, "Kane, we needed you on the floor." He mocked me. "Kane, we need you on the floor." I was really not in the mood for it, so I asked him how badly he needed this job. He said, "Well, if I'm not working, I can stay with Ryan, duh." I said, "Exactly. Kane, go home. You're not needed today, and don't come in tomorrow." He laughed at me like I was joking until he noticed I wasn't moving, wasn't smiling, wasn't laughing. Then he just said no. And I told him that either he leaves right now or he can continue sitting there without getting paid, because I was done letting him fool around. A few more words exchanged, and then he went home. After my shift, I got a call from my Ryan snapping at me for sending Kane home. I told him I was tired of letting his brother get away with doing whatever just because of who he is. Ryan told me that I was being an a-hole because I know he can't support him and his brother, and that there was no way he could send Kane back home because their parents wouldn't take him. I told him I'm not going to let my parents pay someone for goofing off constantly, and this is where we still are today. Added to clarify some common questions. Ryan was made aware of the things Kane did under my employment, and usually right as they happened, so it's not like he didn't know Kane was on thin ice. Kane was fired, yes. Kane was reprimanded / talked to every time I caught him doing something he shouldn't have been doing. Now for the comments. Not a hole. Maybe Kane will have a nice encouraging pep talk with his brother tonight. You absolutely did nothing wrong here. I agree, and would let boyfriend know to stay the hell out of it or he will be supporting a deadbeat brother and he won't have a girlfriend. This is more than a Kane issue. This is also a Ryan issue. Ryan has enabled his brother and constantly taking his side regardless of knowing his brother's penchant for being rowdy. Doesn't even take into consideration how his brother is unprofessional. Opie's trying to run a business, not a daycare. Considering his behavior during work and attitude, I'd say it was fair for you to send him home. Just because he's your boyfriend's brother doesn't mean he doesn't have to work or make you obligated to take care of him. He was lucky that he even got a job at yours in the first place, and he completely blew it. That's on him, not you. I mean, Opie's literally the daughter of the owners. If she's expected to work hard and not slag off, why does Kane think he can expect some special treatment for being the brother of Opie's boyfriend? Kane isn't your problem. At 22, he should start acting like an adult. No one should be taking care of him. Yeah, I even forgot that Kane was 22 and I was reading the rest of the story. Dude sounds like a 14 to 16-year-old. Now for the last story. Would I be the a-hole for eating with my friend rather than my family for Thanksgiving? Every Thanksgiving, my parents usually invite my aunts and uncles and their friends for the dinner. My siblings 16, 10, 13, and I 18 are never allowed to eat with the grown-ups. We'd have to stay in our rooms until the grown-ups either leave or go to sleep if they're staying over. We'd get the leftovers, and to be honest, it's kind of boring. One of my friends from high school's parents are throwing a Thanksgiving dinner. I told my friend about how Thanksgiving was at my house, so she invited me to eat with her family. At first, I wasn't sure because I didn't want to be rude and intrude, but her mom messaged me last night and basically said I'm more than welcome to come. It's quite last minute and I doubt anything is going to change. One of my aunts are coming in an hour and my mom's already telling us to stay upstairs. Would I be the a-hole for celebrating Thanksgiving with my friend? You get the leftovers? Not an a-hole and your family's a massive red flag. That is so messed up. And they aren't even allowed to leave their rooms until everyone leaves. Not celebrating Thanksgiving would be an improvement for these kids. What? Not an a-hole. In any way, shape, or form. I'm not American, so we obviously don't celebrate Thanksgiving here. But from what I know about Thanksgiving, your family gathers to enjoy each other's company and catch up with family you maybe don't see that often. If your parents effectively tell you you're not allowed to participate at all and have to starve in your room until the grown-ups have eaten and gone to bed, it sounds to me you'd be better off going somewhere you were actually more than welcome. I can see how your parents would be upset with you going somewhere else for Thanksgiving, but to be honest, they brought this on themselves. But if you don't mind me asking, is there any particular reason why the children aren't allowed to join the celebration? I just feel we're missing some background here. And if you don't want to get into it, don't feel compelled to answer. Not gonna lie, the two younger ones are pretty loud, so my mom wants me to watch them. I guess the 13-year-old has to watch as well. That's my guess.